An easy-to-understand guide for defeating Darwinism by opening minds, by Phillip E Johnson. Introduction. This book grew out of two conversations. The first was in spring 1996 with friends from InterVarsity Press, my usual publisher. The press was ready for me to do another book, but I wasn't sure I was ready. I had done a book, Reason in the Balance, a year earlier. I had just come back from a long lecture tour. I was immersed again in law school work, and I had a lot of magazine writing to do. I wanted to take my time before beginning another project as demanding as a book. As we talked, however, it became clear that there was one book I needed to write very soon. I had taken on the scientific evidence for Darwinian evolution in Darwin on Trial in 1991, and I had gone into the philosophical, moral, and educational consequences of Darwinian in Reason in the Balance in 1995. Both books were successful and helpful to open up a renewed public debate about whether Darwinian is really true. Both went into considerable detail about scientific and intellectual subjects. However, a lot of readers who needed to know the basic message found them very heavy-going. There was clearly a need for a short book aimed at a different audience, one not quite so familiar with university-level subjects. In particular, I wanted to write for late teens, high school juniors and seniors, and beginning college undergraduates, along with the parents and teachers of such young people. These young people need to take advantage of the wonderful educational opportunities our society offers, but they also need to protect themselves against the indoctrination in naturalism that so often accompanies education. Textbooks and other educational materials today take evolutionary naturalism for granted and thus assume the wrong answer to the most important question we face. Is there a God who created us and cares about what we do? Young people need to be prepared for the indoctrination, and for that, they need to know some things that the public school aren't allowed to teach them. That's the main job of this book, and everyone I've talked to seems to agree that it's a job that needs to be done. That brings me to the second conversation, which occurred in the faculty club of my own university. I remarked to one of my senior Berkeley colleagues that the scientific community was baffled at its failure to convince the general public to believe in evolution. Despite massive educational efforts, including a pitch for evolution on every public television program that deals with nature, the state of public opinion hasn't changed much in the last 30 years. Polls show that under 10% of the American public believes in the official scientific orthodoxy, which is that human and other living things were created by a materialistic evolutionary process in which God played no part. The remaining 90% is more or less evenly divided between biblical creationists and theistic evolutionists who think evolution was God-guided. Why won't the people believe what the evolutionary scientists tell them science has discovered? My colleagues commented, "It's just that the people don't understand the theory." "Oh no," I blurted out in science. "The people understand the theory better than the scientists do." My colleague looked at me as if he were trying to decide whether I was joking or insane, and we let the matter drop. As I thought over what I had said, however, I realized how true it was. My experience speaking and debating on this topic at universities has taught me that scientists and professors in general are often confused about evolution. They may know a lot of details, but they don't understand the basics. The professors typically think that evolution from molecule to man is a single process that can be illustrated by dog breeding or finch beak variations. That fossil evidence confirms that Darwinian process of step-by-step change, that monkeys can type Hamlet if they're aided by a mechanism akin to natural selection, and that science isn't saying anything about religion when it says that we were created by a purposeless material process. All those beliefs are egregiously false, as I will explain in the chapters to come. Many ordinary people are also confused about these subjects, of course, but they do tend to grasp one big truth that the professional intellectuals usually seem incapable of seeing. The people suspect that what is being presented to them as science facts, scientific fact, consists largely of an ideology that goes far beyond the scientific evidence. That is why they are so resistant to it. If high schoolers need a good high school education in how to think about evolution, professors and senior scientists seem to need it just as badly. That's what this book aims to give, a good high school education on how to think about evolution. It's for high schoolers, college students, parents, teachers, youth workers, pastors, and also scientists whose education didn't encourage them to take a skeptical look at the claims of Darwinian theory. There isn't much scientific detail in the book or much advanced philosophy. I've covered the science and the philosophy in my earlier books and refer readers to the relevant chapters as appropriate. I'll also refer in the research notes to some helpful teaching materials that are available on the World Wide Web. As additional material becomes available, they'll announce at the Access Research Center website, http://www.arn.org/ARN. I'm sure it won't be long before we will have a first-rate internet site available where teachers and parents can exchange insights about teaching techniques and materials. As this book title indicates, understanding evolution is mainly a matter of opening minds, of freeing people to think about it as they would other important subjects. All it really takes is precise definitions and good thinking habits. The skills you'll develop in learning to understand evolution will come in handy for a lot of other things too. Actually, you'll find out that they're the same skills that scientists like Carl Sagan have advocated all along. It's just that we're going to apply those skills to evolution, a subject that has for too long been protected from critical thinking by law and academic custom. The end of the introduction.